Welcome to another Business Spotlight, where we share insights, reflections, and pearls of wisdom from local business owners. My name is Kerry James. I'm a business coach and a facilitator. And on today's Business Spotlight, I'm delighted to welcome a founder of Jordy's Pizza, Mr. Jordan Hassall. Good morning to you, Jordan, and welcome to Business Spotlight.
Morning. Hiya. You okay?
Very well, thank you. So Jordy's Pizza, clearly there's quite a clue in the title of your business, Jordan. But how long have you been working? How long have you been operating as a business owner for Jordy's Pizza, please? And what tell us a bit about your pizza business, please.
Sure. Well, it started as a one-man operation about 8.5 years ago. It was so I started it because I was working a sort of minimum wage job making pizzas for a place locally, and I always wanted to. It's something that I learned about myself, is that I wanted to just be in control and do my own thing. That's where it started, and yeah, I just needed the freedom to just be able to go out and make my own money. So that's where it started, really. Yeah, I guess I flunked uni, basically. I made a mess. I guess I didn't really know what I was doing from about the second year of the course, but I didn't really want to quit. So I left uni having failed my dissertation, which is quite a silly thing to do, really. And then this was in 2012, 2013. And I guess I was wondering what I wanted to do. So I just thought, I saw this job for kitchen assistant at a pizza place. I thought I'll just go and do that. So I ended up running the kitchen there for a couple of years, and then found that it'd be best if I went out on my own and did it. So.
And yeah. So you have a restaurant in Nanwich, is that right? Or
well, we will do in a couple of weeks. It's opening sort of week. We're going to have soft openings week commencing the 20th of November.
Okay, and so when you say soft openings, tell us a bit more about that, please, Sean.
Okay, so not opened a restaurant before. We've got a place in Crewe Market, but we're kind of just a kitchen there. We've done mobile catering for 8.5 years now.
Right.
But again, you're setting up a kitchen at an event. So here there's a lot more to it. We've got front of house stuff to deal with. It's going to be table service. We're also wanting to run deliveries as well. So we've got a kitchen in the back, and there's just been a lot to sort out. We've had to sort of start from scratch with the building. Where we are, there's not many options really in the town centre. We've been looking for a premises for maybe a couple of years now. So the right one came up, so we've pounced on it.
So how many events could you support or deliver against on any one day, given your current or historical resources, John?
2. So we've got 2 mobile setups.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can do a couple a day. We used to try and cram in a couple per mobile unit, but it was just we found that we didn't need to do it, basically.
Okay.
You could get enough quality events by just doing one a day, because fitting 2 in a day was just it was a bit too much.
And what would be a typical event? You mentioned before we start recording the Treacle Market in Macclesfield. Was it some private events as well as those type of?
So yeah, we've mainly been doing weddings and parties. Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for your openness and honesty at the start of the interview here. I don't know whether, are you familiar with Jake Humphrey, who's written the book along with Damien Hughes, the High Performance Podcast? Well, the High Performance playbook. But
Um,
his story starts with not doing very well at university. So look where he's got to. So I certainly encourage
exactly.
you to listen to his story as well. Okay, so interesting. So you're moving from the mobile units into a restaurant. So who would you be competing with? The bigger stores like Pizza Express, or who might your competition be when you open the restaurant then, Jordan?
So we're not actually moving from doing the mobile thing to this. We're carried on the mobile business. We've got loads of bookings for next year for weddings.
Great. Okay.
So I'm sort of just I'm expanding more than anything. In terms of I don't think we've got any direct competition. There's not really, there's an Italian restaurant around the corner. I've got builders in drilling.
I heard a little bit of background with these microphones. I probably heard a lot less than you thought I heard, George.
Oh, really?
Let's crack on. It wasn't too
okay. That's all right.
Distracting.
That's all
right. Okay, so you got the Italian restaurant around the corner. Okay,
there's an Italian restaurant around the corner. There's nobody doing what we're doing in Nanwich, to be honest.
So what are you doing that's different then?
That's a good question. There's nothing that we're doing that's particularly miles different to anybody else. It's what we are is a dedicated pizza. We're going to be a dedicated pizzeria. We're just doing pizza. We're not doing pastas or we're not doing. We're not trying to compete with like an occasional restaurant where you go and have. You go and have a splurge at a birthday or something like that. We're kind of a little bit more casual than that. Pizza and a beer. It's very family orientated. It's not, you don't have to put a shirt or a pair of shoes on to come. You have, it's, we want people to come at a drop of a hat rather than have to think about coming.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's just take a step back, if we may, then, Jordan. You say you've been going since 2015, 2016. Clearly, it's been a very interesting, is one word to use, an interesting time since then, going through COVID and inflation and interest rates and hybrid working and all the rest of it. So, digital revolution. How have all those moving parts or those trends affected your business, would you say?
I've been working to get where I am now. I always wanted the restaurant as a sort of end point. So we've managed to get to that goal, but getting there, I'd say sort of COVID and all the changes that it brought about were an obstacle rather than something that's completely altered what we do. So we started doing the mobile thing, obviously. We got into a really good groove with that, and then that got upset by the pandemic. We were slightly ahead of the curve. I was looking at all the things going on in Italy and across Europe. They seemed to be a couple of weeks ahead of us at the very start of the pandemic. And then me and my friend kind of had we started doing takeout and delivery from the pub car park, basically, rather than doing the events and weddings, because we knew that they were going to get cancelled, basically, and that's the bones of what we do. So we saw it coming quite early, and we already had the takeaway and delivery thing set up, ready to go, before the pubs even shut. So it didn't actually interrupt the amount of pizzas that we were making, and we managed to take the same sort of money over 2020 that we did in 2019, which I think not a lot of people can say.
Absolutely. Tell us more about how you actually did that. Where did people go, and where could people go during lockdown to buy Jordy's pizza?
Well, it was they could come and collect it. So there's a one-way street in town we set up in the pub car park, so people could just, would drop it through their car window basically, or put it in their boot. Or I've used to go around doing the delivery driving. I let my staff make the pizzas, and then I went driving around town delivering the pizzas themselves.
Oh, well, good, well done for adapting, pivoting as you did. Brilliant, brilliant. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else in terms of those dynamics we mentioned?
So we've got a kitchen in Crewe Market, which is sort of food hall, retail market. It's got a nice bar in there. There's loads of other food outlets as well that are really good, and with a big communal seating area in the middle. What we did, well, that was supposed to open in 2020, but it ended up opening, a year later in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, the pandemic gave me a good chunk of time to sort of sit down and really plan it properly. So I did that as well.
So
it was a nice run up to sort of get everything nice and organised for when it did open.
So what are the main challenges you think opening the new restaurant brings to you and the business, Jordan?
Challenges. So I looked around this building in June. We didn't have a plan in place for what it would look like when we'd open a restaurant. We had to just pounce on the retail unit as and when it came up. Really and truly, like I was probably a little bit naive going into it. However, we're nearly there now, and I think most of the challenges have been overcome. Basically, the main ones were obviously financing it. We've managed to get a good deal on a lease. I got contacted by a kitchen design consultant who specializes in commercial kitchens, and he's been a big help. A massive help. I had a little plan, but he showed me his plan, and it was miles better than mine. So I thought, well, I need this guy to help, because he really knows what he's doing. So he's been an invaluable help to getting us to where we are now.
Great, and tell us a little bit about what you're doing for the launch. How are you raising awareness? How are you encouraging people to come along in the first week or so of opening?
So I've done loads of events locally over the past 8 years. I'm in the really fortunate position where I don't have to do an awful lot of shouting about what I'm doing. We've got a nice sort of yellow shop front. I've obviously had to have my license advertised in the front window. And people have known about it for ages. We had to, declare that we were applying for a license. So there was a news story, and I think it got shared over 100 times, and it had, a few thousand likes. So there's a lot of, and I also can't walk down the street without somebody asking me, when's it opening?
Yeah, great.
I think really, it's not an enormous restaurant, so I think we're going to be busy from the outset, to be honest, which is, really fortunate position. I don't have to, shout and scream that we're here. People know we're here. People have been asking me for years to open somewhere in Nanwich, and we're nearly there now.
Great. So, well done on building up that demand. That's great. So what about aspirations for Jordy's Pizza? Well, what sort of size and shape would you like it to be in 4 or 5 years' time?
I don't know. In all honesty, I don't know. I don't pretend to have a grand plan. I've always believed in doing the right thing at the right time. Like, for instance, this place, it's happened when I felt ready. The place in Crewe Market came along when it felt right, when it felt like I could sort of cope with more work. I like to be involved with everything that we do. I'm not sort of one of these spreadsheet bosses that just sort of sits at the computer and isn't that involved. I like being hands-on. At the end of the day, it's my name on it. So you've got to
literally, yeah,
literally. So you've got to be involved and you know, what size and shape it could look like in 5 years, I don't know. At the moment, my aspirations are to work out of debt, so get everything paid off, and then do what feels right then. If that means another restaurant, then fine. If it doesn't, I'm probably going to be quite happy just having the one. So yeah, I'll do whatever feels right then.
very good. So you're obviously at a very interesting stage in your career and the journey and the story of Jordy's Pizza. You've been going 8 years or so, as you mentioned, on the more the mobile side. If you were starting again, Jordan, knowing what you know now, what advice might you give yourself, and or what would be the key lessons you've learned as a business owner and a founder and a leader over the last 8 years?
Oh, that's a good question. What would I have told myself back then? That there's no such thing as perfection. I'm a perfectionist. I think, there's I look to improve constantly, but you're never going to get to perfection because it doesn't actually exist. So I think in the early days, I wanted everything to be perfect, but it made me sort of overlook what I had achieved, and I wouldn't sort of I'd end up focusing on the 0.1% of the pizza that was rubbish, the one that I had to throw in the bin, or the one that was a little bit burnt or something. I'd spend all my time thinking about that one little bad thing rather than the 200 lovely ones. Yeah. What else? I've not made that many mistakes, so I believe. I've always just gone with my gut instinct, and I'd probably tell myself, go with your gut, basically.
Very good. So some interesting reflections there. Perfection is the enemy of the good type of sentiment.
Yeah. Well, it's and comparison. If you could, if you're comparing yourself to, people who've been doing it for much longer than you on social media, you see all these glorious pictures on Instagram. Like,
yeah. It's interesting, actually. I'm always reading business books and recommending business books, and one of the books I'm reading at the moment is called "The Courage to Be Disliked," and it actually makes that point very clearly that you just made. There'll always be people better off than you. There'll always be people or better than you. Always be people less well off than you or not as good as you. The key is to not compare.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, I have to learn that.
Interesting points, Jordan. Very good. So then that leads to my next question: is how are you going to celebrate when you launch a new restaurant?
By pulling my socks up and doing loads of work. I don't think because I'm going to be in the kitchen. I'm going to be in there. I'm pretty much concentrating on this until May next year, when I might have to. Well, I am going to step out and do some events. I booked myself out for that. But the event season is mainly summer based, so I booked myself out until May, and I'm just going to be in that kitchen. Basically, we've got a restaurant manager, great supervisor. We've got some wonderful staff lined up for it. I'm really excited to sort of help lead this team
But you're leading the kitchen team, are you? Is that right? You're doing the chefing, or what's your contribution?
Well, so I have got a kitchen manager as well. However, I'm just being here, being present,
Okay.
you know, making, just setting a standard, and then, kitchen manager who will be managing it for me, in the long term. I'll let him do his job, and I'll just be sort of present and working hard and setting the standard. And obviously it's a new team. There's people that haven't worked with pizza before. There's a couple of youngsters who haven't actually worked in a restaurant before. So it's, I'm quite good at training people up. I feel like it's a talent that I didn't know I had going into it, but I'm quite good at getting the best out of people, and showing them, the right attitude to have towards work. So yeah.
Very good. I like your comments about setting the standard, and certainly one of the themes of the High Performance podcast is people having standards, and that's in fact that's one of the questions they always ask all these famous people, sports people, actors, etc., successful people.
Mm-hmm.
What are your non-negotiables? In other words, what are your standards? What are your minimum standards, if you like? So it's interesting to hear your comments on that, Jordan. I've got two more questions, if I may, please, Jordan. One is very, very important. What is your favorite pizza?
I get asked this a lot. It changes all the time. At the moment, I really like Nduja and chili honey.
What was the first ingredient? Nduja?
Nduja, yeah,
That's the spice, is it?
Chili sausage meat.
Yes.
So it sort of gets torn up and put on the pizza. A lot of the time, I go to just a nice margarita with a bit of parmesan on top. What else?
So you haven't got fed up of pizzas yet, then?
Oh, no. You gotta love what you do. That's the best advice that I've got for other people who don't know what they're doing. Is you gotta love what you do, otherwise, find it.
Very good, excellent. All right then, John. So last question then. In terms of the opening of the restaurant, or any other invitations or announcements about your events, etc., is there anything else you'd like to share with the Business Spotlight viewers?
Have I got anything I'd like to share with them? Well,
or any offers you might have?
I don't think I haven't got any offers. I haven't got anything that I want to put out there to people, other than just keep an eye on us, and we'll announce all the details to do with the bookings this week, or possibly early next week.
Do you have an opening date, a deadline you're working to?
Yes, it'll be week commencing the 20th. So we'll do some soft openings, and then we'll probably open after a couple of soft openings. So we're probably looking at about Thursday, I think it's the 24th, is it?
Oh, November we're talking about, yes.
Yeah, November. So
yes. Christmas Eve would be an interesting night.
Yeah. Sorry, Thursday 23rd.
Thursday 23rd, and that is in the centre of Nanwich. Is that right, Jordan?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, on Pillory Street.
Very good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure hearing your story, and all the very best as things move forward with Jordy's Pizza. So once again, thanks so much for your time, your reflections, and all the very best with the opening of the restaurant and the rest of the Jordy's Pizza business.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.